Hey friends, it's Mr. Jim and welcome back to Kid Short Stories. If this is your first time, welcome to the family. We are the podcast that turns your ideas into an amazing adventure every single day. You know, we couldn't even exist without imaginations from kids just like you. So if you have an idea for a story, I'd love to see it. Check down in the show notes below for how you can submit your own story idea, and maybe we'll turn it into an awesome adventure. And parents, if you're new to kids podcasting, I want to challenge you to listen to podcasting for 5 days in a row with your kids. It's going to increase their imagination, decrease screen time, and we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Are you guys ready for today's adventure? Me too, let's go! There was a garden at the end of Tommy's street. It wasn't one of those pretty gardens with neat rows of colorful flowers or raised beds filled with vegetables. This garden was tall and wild. Sunflower stalks towered above overgrown berry bushes while vines tangled themselves throughout it. Sometimes, when the wind blew through the leaves of the garden, the kids in the neighborhood thought they heard noises. It sounded like something was stomping through the overflowing flower patches beyond the berry bushes. Tommy had always been interested in the garden. He wanted to see what it looked like behind the bushes and tall vines. One day, as Tommy and his friend Sam were walking by, they could smell the blackberries growing on the bushes. They smelled delicious. "Let's go pick some of those blackberries," Tommy suggested to Sam. I don't know, Tommy. I heard a garden monster lives there," Sam replied. "A garden monster? What does a garden monster even look like?" "I don't know," Sam shuddered. "But I don't think I want to find out." "Okay, well, I'm gonna eat some berries. You can stay here if you want." Tommy wandered over to pick some from the branches. He popped the first one in his mouth, and the tart juiciness of the berry was even better than he imagined it would be. He finished the rest off that were in his hand and waved over to Sam. "You've got to try these. They're delicious." Sam gave in and walked over to Tommy. Tommy plucked another berry and gave it to him. Sam smiled as he tasted it. "I wonder what else is inside the garden," Tommy said, peeking in. He pushed his way between berry bushes and inside the messy rows of the garden. Tommy, hey, wait!" called Sam as he followed him inside. There were carrot stalks popping out of the dirt on their left, mixed in with broccoli and cauliflower. On their right were more tall sunflowers and weeds. Boom, boom, boom. Something was stomping on the other side of the flowers. Sam? Was that you?" Tommy asked. Boom, boom, boom. Long green and red leaves came into view between the flowers. They seemed to be moving along the row. The boys gulped as the leaves made it around the corner of the row and came fully into view. A giant radish-like creature appeared before them. It walked on skinny root arms and legs, and on its round radish body were 2 angry eyes and a big, wide mouth. "I told you there was a garden monster!" shrieked Sam. Tommy saw the giant vegetable before him, but was more curious than scared. He took a step closer. "Tommy, what are you doing?" Sam asked him. Tommy was close enough to touch it. He poked the monster and it growled at him. He turned back to Sam. "Oh, it's just a giant radish. What can it really do?" Then the radish monster opened its wide mouth and swallowed Tommy whole. "Ah!" Sam cried. Whoa! Tommy cried from inside the tummy of the radish as he landed in the darkness with a thud. He squinted his eyes, adjusted to his surroundings. There were other things inside the garden monster with him. Feeling around, he picked something up that was next to him. A bicycle tire? Said Tommy as he held up the round, thin frame. He looked around, but he couldn't see the rest of the bicycle. Then he picked up gardening gloves, a watering can, and a basketball. All these things, like Tommy, had been swallowed by this giant radish garden monster. He wondered what Sam was doing out there, and if he was going to get eaten next. "Sam!" Tommy called out. "Are you there?" He tried to listen, but couldn't hear anything over the garden monster's growling and grunting. He thought about how to get out. Could he climb back out the garden monster's mouth? He looked up and sighed. No, it was too high for him to reach. He began looking through the other things the garden monster had eaten. He found a kite, a storybook, and some old shoes. Tommy wasn't sure how these could help, so he kept looking. "Aha!" Tommy exclaimed. He held a feather duster in his hand and had an idea. "Tickle, tickle, tickle!" Tommy called as he wiggled the feather duster against the belly of this garden monster. He could hear it grunting and snorting and laughing in response. "Tickle, tickle!" he said again as he moved the feather duster around faster. The garden monster began to cough, and Tommy bounced into the air as he did. He waved the feather duster around wildly, and the garden monster launched it into a coughing fit. Tommy bounced higher with each cough, until he was high enough to see out of the garden monster's mouth. He could see Sam still standing there in surprise and waved. On the next bounce, Tommy kicked off the back of the garden monster's throat and flew out of its open mouth as it coughed. He landed on the ground, oof, in front of it and scrambled up to his feet. "Let's get out of here!" Tommy called out. Sam nodded and the two boys ran back down the row and through the blackberry bushes. Back on the outside of the garden, they stopped to catch their breath. You were right, Sam. There is a garden monster," said Tommy. They heard growling behind the bushes. Sam turned and ran, and Tommy plucked a handful of blackberries from the bush and ran after him. Wow, what a wild adventure. Even though this is the end of our story, I'm pretty sure it's only just the beginning of the amazing adventures that lie ahead for Tommy and Sam. Do you think they're going to go back into that garden? I'm not sure. But it's a good thing that he learned that those garden monsters are awful ticklish from their tummy. The end. Great job. You listened all the way to the end, and you know what time it is. It's time for Kid Shoutouts. I want to say hey to Preston from Washington, Ori and Emmy from Toronto, Canada, Mateo and Katrina from the Philippines, Rebecca, Michael, and Joshua from Pennsylvania, Francisco from Mexico, and Felix from New York. I'm so glad that you're all on the Kid Short Stories family. We could not have this much fun with imagination without you, my friends. Well, you have a super duper day, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Bye!